What's up, LLCers? It's conference championship time. Some have happened already. Some are taking place right now. If not, they're starting tomorrow. So tensions are high, blood pressure's raised, heart rates are fast. Get her done. So the faces that you see on the screen, they are what they are. Take them as they are. Literally, literally. So
Is this a
anyhow,
stressful week for you guys?
she,
Not at all.
oh man, oh man, oh man. Right? Like, because you think about it, and there are people who are like, oh, at least you guys got to stay home if you're hosting. No,
Hosting's awful for the
it's
record.
hard, right?
Hosting conference is the
Awful.
worst. Unless you're Oregon, where you don't have to do anything.
Or
Hosting
A&M.
conferences,
Well, I wouldn't even
or
say E&M because
because Pat puts his hand in everything.
absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
it's only Oregon where you turn the meat over to somebody else.
Yeah.
so I mean, travel, whatever. It's just a lot. Point blank, period. Doesn't matter how far, how close, or no travel at all. So, the trackflation governor, how are you today?
Oh yeah, let's get
I see
into
what
it.
he did there. I see what he did there.
That's funny.
Couple of oddities, and I think I told, I don't know, like we're walking off the plane in Charlotte and Iggy from Stanford's right behind me, and I'm like, the hell are you doing here?
Right, right. He's like going to conference.
Yeah, they're at
Wake Forest
Wait.
Yeah.
for the ACC.
Yeah. And, so he got on Southwest with the polls, right?
Yeah.
Of course he
And
did.
the rest of the team there was a direct flight. I don't know where it was from. Turns out bad weather. Their flight was delayed like 3 hours. So he beat him to it, even though he had a connection. So we chatted a little bit about that. But yeah, I'm how many times have I done this? I'm just going over my head like it's the same thing, same message, right? Same intensity.
Yep.
It's time. It's go time. It's go
Rinse
time.
and repeat.
Like, we're here now. We clicked our heels and the season's pretty much over. So
Yeah, that part.
that part. What else was I going to say? Move on. I'll remember what I was going to say. I'm just here. Here.
Clyde, how are you today?
I'm good. In my various roles throughout my career, I don't really stress out about conference week. It's not, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I'm not one of these people that overpopulates my athletes with extra events because it so happens to be conference. I don't like that. I've stood against it as an assistant, and as a head coach, I refuse to do that. I look at the conference outdoor championships as literally the beginning of the season. We have been working since August, September to get to this moment. And for me, I work way too hard to have my season end at this moment. So my mentality and the voice that I always give to the athletes is, this is the first meet. Like this, we have a choice. We can handle our business and do what we've been trained to do, or your season can come down to a whole bunch of practice events and this weekend. I would prefer to be competing in June. So this is the start of the season, and we are in Clovis, California. The weather is great. My work is finished. Like, you got to go out there and express, the idea that you are trained and that you are prepared. I don't spend a lot of time stressing about conference. I just don't. I'm much more stressed about who's going to be on or off this list at the end of this chaos this weekend. So my brain is looking forward, and I'll share a quick story from last year that will probably resonate for me forever as long as I'm in this particular chair. Our men's team last year was incredible. They scored 123 points. We got third place overall. I think it was Air Force that won. Great team, great culture over there. Props to them. And one of our media guys asked me, Coach, you guys had an incredible meet. You broke like 5 Mountain West records. Like, what are you gonna have to do to get over the hump of Air Force? And I'm like, in 2 weeks, we got 20 people going to nationals, more than anybody in this conference. I'm good. Like, I'm not stunting it. And that's kind of how I see the conference meet. Like, this is our last qualifying attempt to go to the show.
I
49
see.
in a row. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing some off the track and off the field endeavors that will eventually be really, really good for my life. And all those in it. Currently I am wringing myself out like a washcloth and then sopping up more liquid. That's basically been my week. I was exhausted this morning and realized it was Wednesday morning. But we gonna get it going.
Mm-hmm.
A quick homage, because I obviously I never really give Stanford props because that's just not a thing I do. But I came across this information a couple days ago and it blew my mind. So Stanford hadn't won a national championship this year until this weekend. They were in the championship game of the water polo. So I don't know what possessed me to look this up, but Stanford has the longest current, probably ever, streak of winning national championships of 48 years in a row.
Oh, wow.
Insane.
And then this weekend, they managed to beat USC in men's water polo, and have now secured the bag for the 49th year in a row.
Hence the name.
That is insane.
It's insane, right? Like, I mean, winning a national
For sure.
championship is incredibly hard. To have an athletic department that has won at least one of those every year for 49 straight years is sort of outrageous.
It is.
It is.
Because even in a sport like water polo, where like 36 teams compete, you still got to win. At the end of the day, I don't care how many teams, but there was only 2 teams, you still got to win.
People like to talk about water polo like the smaller numbers matter. I'm telling y'all like this: the top half of water polo is crazy competitive.
It is.
Like,
because I did a deep dive on this over the course of this weekend, right? So how crazy is this? No team has won a national championship other than Stanford, USC, and UCLA. Only 2 other teams have made the national championship game. Cal, twice, and I think it was Navy. One of those, once. Right. So why is that relevant? Because some people outside would be like, yeah, well, you win every year. What that means is, if you don't get a certain kid in recruiting, you just may have lost the national championship. Right? Like it's that tight. And all the kids, for the most part, live on the West Coast. So recruiting has to be outrageous.
It is.
It has to be, right? Like, literally every kid matters.
How are you, Big League?
I'm tired. I just want to get there. I just want to get tomorrow, 12 o'clock. That's what I need to happen.
Yeah.
No, I get that,
clock.
right? You're like pre-tired. Like, you're tired of being tired. But when the meet starts, then you just press play.
Yeah. Well, and it's the logistics and getting the athletes right, making sure everybody is good, tell situations, best situations.
So I just remembered what I was going to say. We were talking about hosting conference championships, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, in North Carolina this weekend, the Big South, the ACC, and the AAC, and the state meet are all happening this weekend.
Oh,
So
okay.
I am almost guaranteed to be raking pits this weekend. I'm almost guaranteed to be hurdle crew. And guess what? It doesn't matter, right? Like if we've got a schedule and we've got to keep that thing going,
Oh yeah.
let's do it.
Indeed.
Let's do it.
Oh yeah. It's the conference meet. Like we do what we must do
What's
to
going
get done
on?
what must be done.
What's going on?
Yes, you're killing us. You're killing us right now.
Oh, that's because my screen fell. Sorry. I'm good now.
I was saying,
Sorry.
don't diddy the broadcast, brother. Like,
Oh, is that what happened? Oh, I'm so sorry, everyone.
Oh, man.
The screen fell, so I caught it, and then in securing it so it didn't fall again, evidently I was showing you all my nether regions. Sorry, they're all covered. If that makes anybody feel better.
well,
Okay.
on the agenda,
Well, let's talk
dude.
about some
What's on the
track.
agenda?
Now that we're diddying.
So, such a thing called World Relays has come and gone, but nonetheless left a mark. So, regardless, okay, well, for a moment, let's talk about the meet itself. Let's talk about the mixed 4x1, because that's what everybody's going to want to hear what we said.
Do we have to talk about that?
Three words. I will limit my comments on mixed 4x1 to 3 words. It's a disaster. That's all I got.
Listen, we talked about it ahead of time. It's stupid. It looked stupid. But trends still ended the same. Canada knows how to pass the baton. Others don't. Like, hey, but I don't actually need to see that again. Unfortunately, we will. But
God, I can't imagine that the feedback after that is going to be good.
Here's how bad. Here's a numbers example of how bad the mixed 4x1 is. The women's world record is 40 point, and with half the field having men on it, 40 and 41s were all over the place. That's how bad the mixed relay.
Yeah.
No.
Because all you can do is pray that it's not a disaster. But like from 2 to 3, all you can do is pray that it's not a disaster. So somebody brought this to me since we're on the World Relays, this concept, and I thought is a good one. You know how we always talk about how regionals first round is just making sure the best kids don't screw it up so they get there?
Right.
That's World Relays. So
the text in our group chat came because Governor and I were speaking about that.
Yes.
Literally where it came from.
Like,
it's
you know what I mean?
essence.
That's what it is, right? Like,
it's the essence. It's the progression. It's the placeholder so that you have a place. So, my reference to the concept was in high school, you don't run your A relay to qualify for state. Like you've got pieces to the puzzle to get you to state.
Right.
And then your A relay runs. Conceptually, it's the same exact thing, only it's like months apart between the prelims and the finals.
Yeah, it's again, like when you like we've harped on this so many times this year in regards to Worlds being in September. This is the time, if you are a B-lister or someone that's trying to make a final at USA's trying to get an opportunity to be on a relay, this is your time. This is your time right now.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right.
And
We reeled him in.
And
All right.
look, slide and go.
No, okay. Let- if our current conversation is impressions from World Relays, big picture,
Yes.
I have two, and they're very simple. Jamaica has real, serious problems that
Real.
they better address, because that is as ugly of anything I've ever seen
Yes.
of high level track and field. And it wasn't just one, it was
Considering
systematic.
the caliber of athlete.
It was systematic, it was across the board.
Man.
It was an abject disaster. Last year,
They didn't look good at anything.
no, and that's the point, right? So a year ago, Jamaica did the arrogant thing and sent the C team in the 4x4, and it cost them a spot in the Olympics.
Right.
So this year, they basically sent the real people, and no one qualified anyway. So whatever's going on the island, as a fan of the island, as somebody who understands that our sport is better off when Jamaica is a legitimate contender,
Yes.
somebody better fix it. Somebody better get fired. I don't know nothing about anything, but Jamaica, disaster. On the flip side, Spain, elite.
Oh man.
Elite.
They came with it.
Spain,
So when the meet is in September,
brilliant.
and you know everybody's going to be ready in September, and you might not be good enough, what you do is exactly what Spain did.
Absolutely.
You get your quartet ready
That's right.
in May,
Yes,
and
right.
they were ready.
Yes, they were.
Handoffs on point,
Yeah.
running through zones,
Yep.
finishing through read, like the competitive spirit.
Yes.
Like it was like they were getting ready for the NCAA meet.
Yeah.
No, and this is my like, Spain put on a clinic
Mm-hmm.
of how to run relays.
Yep.
Yeah, all of them.
Men, women, all of them.
Yep.
It was phenomenal. Now, it's like Spain literally went out and proved my entire premise from my speech at the convention. Skill over speed. Like, they were so good. Are they
Mhm.
going to be fast enough to win a medal? I don't know, but they're skilled enough to win the medals, and it was great to watch.
Yeah.
Now, we are an American-centric show, so those are the big ones. And I will step into this nonsense because this is what the audience wants. Okay. That's the big picture. Now let's dial in on the American pieces of this. The conversations that have spawned during World Relays and since World Relays have irritated me on both ends, because everybody's like running to their corners and not allowing for nuance. Multiple things can be true at once. It is a fact that Team USA did exactly the job that they went there to do. So from an organizational standpoint, from a, whatever you want to call it, like, they went there, they got the job done. What is the job? The job is to qualify for the show. And we did that in all 5 relays. So organizationally, end result wise, good job. Hell, great job. No casualties. That is true. And that's the point of the meet. So they did well. It is also true that the performances from said people who were there were not awesome. And you can see trends that could potentially cause us harm later. It's not good enough to say, well, we're going to bring in the Avengers later. No, because if the Avengers do the same mistakes that these people did, you're not going to end up in finals, or you're not going to get the medals that you want to get. So organizationally, they got the job done, and that's great, and I'm all here for that. But we can still tell the truth about things that were done on the actual track, and a lot of it wasn't awesome.
So
Okay.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you know, when you mentioned the Avengers, we're in a very interesting time, and it's getting to the point where it's reminiscent of the golden age. When you think about, there was no 4x1 without Carl on anchor. There was no 4x1 without Dennis on third. There was no 4x1 without Leroy on second, right? First leg, it was one of maybe 2 or 3 people, right?
Well, Mike Marsh for a chunk, and then JD.
Yeah.
Like, they were stalwarts, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I would dare say that the Avengers are already, we know who they are, right? Now, it's on them to make the USA team for Tokyo, correct?
Yep.
So from that standpoint, I think we're in an era right now where these athletes are already very familiar with each other, and they already know what their roles are. Okay, so I think that part is not going to have to be figured out this year. You know, between CC, Bednarek, Arian Knighton, Noah Lyles, I mean, those names are already being thrown out there as this is what it's going to be. Okay, now, is that going to be set in stone? I mean, obviously they have to go to USA's. The people that have to earn their spot are going to have to earn their spot. All that being said, what I'm trying to get at is I don't see this year as a year where people are going to not be in the loop or not understand what their roles are going to be. If we're piggybacking off of what happened in Paris, there's clearly a hierarchy in USA track and field, especially on the men's side now, where we know who the principals are. They know who they are. And it's just a matter of, hey, take care of your business, son. Get there, get to Tokyo. We know what's going to happen. As far as world relays are concerned, you know, the what World Athletics tried to, or what they're trying to make this meet out to be, is not what it's turning out to be. Okay? They're trying to make this a spectacle in itself.
Right.
They're trying to make this a standalone track meet.
Right. And it's not.
But for the folks that have stake in this, right? That have depth, that understand the nuances of world athletics, like USA Track and Field, it's not a big deal. It's get in, survive, move on. Thank you for your time. And I can't be more brutal or more blunt with that. And, you know, for some, it might look like, are you making a mockery of this? No, we are capable of sending athletes that are good enough to make world athletics, to make it to Tokyo, and that's what we did. That I don't think there's been more clear of a movement by USA Track and Field than this year.
All right. See, you're giving way too much props for organizational like skill. Like let's not do that. They ended up with that. It landed there, but let's slow down.
Okay.
I want to say this because again, look, I know I tend to be the most critical, so I'm going to say this. Clyde kind of like slid over, like, you know, we did the job, move on, right? But I just want to say this. When is the last time we did that?
I know. That's true.
Like, when's the last time like we like had an adult mission, took adults, got adult things done and moved on? Like, so I'm gonna give the people involved the props of this. they never forgot the mission,
Yes.
which is
Yeah.
get the 5 relay teams there,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because let's be honest, we tend to forget the mission,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Right?
no,
You know,
no, that's what I'm saying.
you know,
Like,
when
that
we were
part
in
of it-
Eugene, we won the prelim and in the men's 4x1, and
Yes.
and then they got their ass kicked in the final, right? So we tend to do that. So I will give props where props should be given, in that we did for once act like adults in the room. With that said, look, I am not going to let the governor give credit to something that happened by accident. We have so many people that at some level, as long as some of the people say yes, we're fine. But the reality is this. I'm going to offer this up as a solution. We have a tiered system in the United States in USATF. I think it should be mandated that if you are being paid in the tiered system, that you have to avail yourself and make yourself available for the relay pools in wherever world relays are. Next year, they're in Botswana,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So at the end of the day, we should not be. Listen, the 4 of us watch a lot of track and know a lot of track. There should not be somebody that is on a U.S. relay team that we're like, who's that? That should
No.
never, ever, ever in life
There was
happen,
a few of those situations.
right? And that's not a diss to those people. What I'm saying is, again, this is about being professional. Matthew Bowling, I think Clyde originated the term like ultimate relay bandit, right?
Mhm. Yes.
And Matthew Bowling was running 100 and 200 at Arkansas this weekend and not in China where he should be.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest,
Where he could have been
right?
useful.
He would have been incredibly useful. Like, let's be honest, if we got
And he
if
would
we-
have gotten paid.
if we got mixed 4x1, 4x1, mixed 4x4, and 4x4, the guys, he and Ja'Cory Patterson, who trained to run the 1, 2, and the 4, hey, they're pretty valuable.
Yes.
They're Swiss Army knife sprinters, and we could probably use them in a qualifying situation, right? So at the end of the day, the one thing I think we have to actually do is systematically make sure that we have the personnel on hand. And I think that if you are in a tiered situation and listed as a sprinter, you need to be able to make yourself available to go to wherever world relays are, so that we don't end up with personnel.
I mean,
That's what happened. That is without question what happened. We ended up with the personnel that we got, right? And there was conversation about how do we even end up with those people? Like, none of that should happen, right? All these things should be clean. Right. But with that said, I will say this, man. Like, look, the women's 4x4 ran 4 women that I don't think had ran anchor on their college 4x4s, right? And they performed like adults, right? Like, everybody, listen, the men's 4x4 looked worse than it was because they were in a hot heat and they didn't qualify to the final, which is where they should have been, right? Look, it wasn't the right group, it wasn't the right order, in my opinion. It's just my opinion, right? But at the end of the day, what they didn't do, which is what we have done so many times, is panic. Like, okay, well, we got to run this race tomorrow. We can't win the world relays, but who cares? We got to be top 2 tomorrow. So let's go be adults and do that. Right? Mission accomplished. So what I'm saying is, it's not the progress we want, let's be honest, but it is definitely progress. Like, it's definitely better. Definitely better and more professional and all those things than we've been. We just got to keep cleaning it up. Right. Because I will say this, like, can you imagine being one of the men's 4x1 teams that just barely missed out? Right. You're like, oh, well, there's 2 more spots. Okay. Jamaica dropped the stick and Botswana didn't run. So they're going to be running at some point in time this year for those other 2 spots. So if you just missed out, now you got to beat Botswana and or Jamaica to make world championships, which means your life is probably 7 different realms of hell.
No. And let's be very, very clear. D2, our friend, Daryl Woodson, and his crew, on professionalism, on organization, bravo. got the jobs done. You don't want to be Jamaica.
No, or
oh my
Botswana, to
God.
be honest.
Right? You don't want that. My thing, I think the tiered system athletes being, call it what you want, made available, no, forced to be there.
No, I mean it's a contract, right? That should be one of the stipulations.
I am so in for that. I standing ovation for that idea. Yeah, can we get that moving immediately? Here's to the governor's point. I'm gonna say I hear you and I like it, but this is what's interesting about the change of direction that we are currently in the middle of witnessing, right? Because the way you spoke about it articulates that even though we changed leadership for relays, that we would still be operating under the old models. None of the men, none of the women, none of the humans that could be on the relay have to make the 100-meter team to be on the relay.
True.
And that is an archaic, in my opinion, ignorant way to go about this. And it's part of the reason that we always seem to find ourselves in trouble. If Sir Lucius went on another podcast earlier this week, and he was one of the people that put out the list of names that you just put out, right? Christian Coleman, Kenny Bednarik, Ariane Knighton, and Noah Lyles. Those group of people have never run an international relay together. It would be Ariane's first time in that position, right? But Ariane doesn't need to make the 100-meter team or the 200-meter team technically to be selected to do that job. And if
we could run that relay all summer,
right? And if the powers that be believe that that's the group, I'm the guy that says absolutely do that. Because don't tell me that I don't get that group or a different group that we desire because Christian Coleman doesn't make the 100-meter team. No, like that. I'm not here for those kind of discussions. The people who are doing this right and the people who are consistently outperforming us do it that way. They identify who they want and they put them on the team, and whatever happens in their individual events is what happens in their individual events. It has nothing to do with anything. So if our new leadership is moving towards that kind of model, oh, I'm all for it. Let's get it done. Consequently, the women, we just went back to back gold medals. The last two women's teams were identical teams, but they ran poorly on their way to said gold medals. They were very close to disasters in getting said gold medals. So is that the group? Should that be the group? Maybe is that the group in a different order? Are there new women that should be in that group? I don't care how it gets decided. All I care about is that we please don't beholden ourselves to who makes the team. Because that's not, it shouldn't be relevant. Like, if you make the 100-meter team to go to world championships, that's the job you did. Make the 200-meter team, that's the job you did. Don't tell me that one of the 400-meter girls can't be awesome at this job if that's the job we need to be doing, right? So I'm very interested.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see the direction that we're going.
And all I'm saying and all I'm alluding to is that there has been a formula that has been successful for decades.
Sure.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, we got away from that. And
well, we got away from it based on the it was so weird, right? The formula, it's such an interesting conversation because you're right. The formula existed, but by accident. It just so happened that these principal men also
they always made the team. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
No. Because relay skill is relay skill, right?
Exactly.
So if the relay skilled people just so happen to not run the 100 well, don't tell me that I have to take the less skilled people. Because then I will scream it until I don't have a voice anymore. Running from blocks in a straight line over 100 meters has nothing to do with the 4x1. There's not one person that does it on the relay.
Yes.
So, hey, if we know who the people with skills are, then give me those people. And I'm not projecting that one person can't make the team or the other, but I'll tell you what, Courtney Lindsay is an excellent relay runner.
Yes.
When Courtney Lindsay's on the track, his passes get done well.
Yeah.
Whether he makes the 100 or makes the 200 or makes neither, probably a good idea to have Courtney Lindsay somewhere on the track.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those are the things I'm looking at. Like I want skilled people out there doing the jobs.
Yep. To another extent, what you cannot, as long as he's in shape, what you have to have Vernon Norwood on the 4x4.
Yes.
You know?
Listen, can I just say this? I feel like Vernon Norwood, Ja'Cory Patterson, and Matthew Bowling should literally be the prelim and final group of men for the mixed relay until
Yes.
further notice.
Yeah. It's
Because the 4x4s, that's not necessarily a skill-based event, not when it comes to the passes.
right.
So to the point, if Vernon Norwood is healthy
Yeah.
and somewhere near the vicinity of USA semifinals or
Yes,
finals,
exactly.
Vernon Norwood needs to be on the plane. Don't tell me he got sixth and therefore I'm taking no. Because without Vernon Norwood,
Yeah.
we didn't make no finals last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Vernon Norwood had put on his cape last year. Let's just
Sure
call that
did.
what that is. Where we at, Big League?
Go
Well,
ahead.
wait, I didn't want to steal your thoughts. Like, what you watch World Relays? Like, what was your take?
I would just be redundant.
Okay, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to
Okay,
steal
wait.
your voice,
Yeah.
is all I'm saying.
So since Chewy is choosing to be redundant, because you threw a very interesting thing in there I didn't want to skip over. Said they're trying to make it a standalone track meet. And it's not, I think was the quote. I disagree. As a fan, watching on Peacock, I would much rather watch the 2 days of World Relays and all the intrigue that comes along with that than any of the Diamond Leagues. The Diamond Leagues are boring versus that. I found it to be very engaging, regardless of who was out there. It's relay, boom, 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 boom. I didn't like the mixed 4x1, but I enjoyed the pettiness of like, look at this shit show on television, right? Like, I like the 2-day format. I just don't think it's useful where it is. Like, move it to like, I don't know, mid-July or something, which we all know they're not going to do because it messes with their business with the Diamond League. But move it to later in the calendar, and I'll watch 2 days of World Relays anytime you put it on.
See, okay, but what's funny is you said, okay, mess up with their business of the Diamond Leagues, right? Like, am I the only one that gets this? Make it a Diamond League meet.
Sure.
Make World Relays a Diamond League. Like, just put it in the Diamond League calendar, right? It's not obviously a Diamond League meet, but I'm just saying, like, sell it to whoever you're selling it in the same package. Make World Relays a stop on the Diamond League tour, and then most countries have already kind of mandated at least somebody you recognize runs in it. It's a worthwhile adventure for sure.
I mean, I love it as a qualifying event. I like that World Relays is forcing countries, hey, you better come here and do something, or you can't go to the show. Like, I love that part of it. I do.
And let me tell you, for the record, their version of the repechage is way better than the real repechage.
Yes.
Because I don't know if anybody else did this. When I watched the B relay, right, the not final,
Yes.
I was 0% concerned with first or second.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was watching the battle in the 2, 3, 4 range. If there was a battle, or if there was a battle of 3, 4, 5, that's what I was watching. Because that agony of defeat is different, man. you get four, like look, this is your repechage. You get fourth there, you could see it. Hands on head, submission cobra, all of that. It was bad.
Speaking of, did you see that they're floating the idea of running a 4x4 at racers?
They better.
I mean,
bro, you can't have this. Listen, the racers meet should be half relays. Just look, man, you can't have this. It's so bad. Like it's hard to properly articulate how much of a shit show that was. Because Shane Thompson flew all the way to China and did not run
at all. Bro,
twice.
I mean, I need people to understand. That man warmed up, got on the track twice and never touched the stick or ran. He literally went all the way to China to do some accelerations.
Ain't no way.
That's outrageous. Like, that's egregious.
They had a whole professional run 56 on the pop-off of a 4x4.
I mean, listen, Look, there are so many things that they did this past weekend that were like, that didn't happen.
You know, can't have it. Can't have it.
All right, Chu.
So as I mentioned earlier, it's conference championship period era. So let's talk about some things that might be standing out this weekend.
I mean,
Okay, so let's start with this. The ACC, I'm going to start with Power Four, I apologize. ACC is at Wake. Big Ten is where?
at Oregon.
Oregon.
See, I didn't know that. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Big Ten is in Eugene. I said this earlier in the year. The new Big Ten with UCLA, USC, Oregon, and Washington in the Big Ten is the most intriguing conference battle that there is. It may not last that way forever.
It's definitely interesting.
But intrigue. I'm not saying it's the best meet, but
Definitely
intrigue, it's the most interesting one. And the fact that I don't remember the exact logistics, but it wasn't necessarily supposed to be at Oregon, but it ended up at Oregon. Like it's just an interesting dynamic to watch, and I'm very interested in watching that. Like,
if you're a Big Ten coach, you're going to spend a tremendous amount of time in Eugene this summer.
I just had a look. Okay. Tomorrow, 61-48. 60% chance of rain.
yes. And let me, as the Oregon Eugene defender, I am all for spending every June in Eugene for NCAA championships.
But not May.
Eugene in May is a bad idea.
Listen, I did Eugene for a conference meet when I was in college. It was exactly that.
69
rained every day.
65 and 47 on Saturday. 85% chance of rain.
Listen to me. Listen, look. I'm going to assume that the commissioner and the powers of be of the Big Ten watch our show. Move the meet to Mount Sac and leave it there.
That's right. That's
Don't
right.
move it ever, because there's nowhere in the Big Ten that you actually want to run a track meet.
True. That is so true.
Put it at Mount Sac and leave it alone.
So who would you have hosted?
Who cares?
You have to care because somebody has to
Okay.
host it.
USC or UCLA would
UCLA and listen, UCLA and
help
USC
hosting.
will trade hosting duty every year for 10 years for being the new kids on the block. That's your entity into the conference. I don't care. But Big Ten should be in LA in perpetuity. Just be smart about it and leave it alone.
You know what? While you're talking about Mount Sac, I have this idea I would like to lob out there for the rest of the world to actually pay attention to. Maybe I think that the USAs should be at Mount Sac in, let's say, 25, 26, 27. The trials should be in Eugene.
Yes, you've lobbied that before.
But I think that makes sense because I think, look, half the issue we always have is Eugene fatigue, right? Eugene used to be special. That would make Eugene special again.
No. I already agreed with you on the USA side.
Yeah,
Mount Sac, Eugene, I'm good with. On the NCAA
I saw an opening.
side,
I had to dive in. I saw an opening. I had to jump in there. No, it's too many NCAA. Like, look, if you're in the Big Ten, right? You're going to Eugene for Big Tens. You're going to Eugene for NCAAs. You're going to Eugene for Nike Nationals to recruit and Junior Nationals if you're coaching, right? Like you're going to be in Eugene for like a total of like 50 days this summer. Because then you got to go back to Eugene in like when school starts for USAs. I mean, I'm just saying.
All right.
So you should buy a condo.
I mean, okay, so I'm gonna play the homer card here just because I work here and I've literally watched it. The Mountain West gets better every year for the past 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the performances, I don't care if you're into team title stuff, there's definitely intrigue in there. We're not a part of that mix. But like there's like indoors, the women's 400 was a bloodbath in the Mountain West.
I remember that.
And outdoors, there's no banks to negotiate. Like, I'm very interested to see you know, what comes out of the Mountain West, what comes out of the American, what comes out of Conference USA, the smaller conferences. But of course, you know, the SEC and the Big 12 are going to garner the most attention because they are going to put up crazy performances.
But the SEC will be entertaining because the SEC is in one of the 2 or 3 places where you have volatile weather. It's in Kentucky, and if you look at the weather,
Yep.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
they got a lot of mid to high percentages of rain and thunderstorms. Like, listen, here's what I'll say. I think we would all agree with this. If you told me it was an 85% chance of rain all weekend, I could live with that. If you give me a 15% chance of thunderstorms, I'm like, nah, we don't want that.
Like we don't want that.
Because thunderstorms mean delays.
Yep.
Correct.
Right? You would listen, deal with it. Get rain gear, wear Gore-Tex shoes. But thunderstorms mean delays and schedule changes and things like that. And as somebody who, and I know the big leagues in this same situation, if you coach the multis, they're not talking to you.
Right.
Like, we're just going to delay till we can go. But at the end of the day, we're not talking to you. You're going to be out there.
Yes.
Till we're done.
All day.
That's right.
So yeah, I you know, conference meets in volatile weather is just not a good idea. I know everybody wants to host, but Missouri and Kentucky should probably be banned.
having hosted SECs at Missouri, oh my goodness. I mean, we ended up having the pole vault inside. I mean, it was awful.
Look, they both have indoor facilities, right? So this is what should happen. They should get double booking in the indoor rotations and no booking in the outdoor.
No,
that way, look, everybody that listen, I just made it fair.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen,
Missouri hosts twice every 14 years. Kentucky hosts twice every 14 years. Outdoors, you never go to either place.
That's right.
Like the Big Ten meet should never, and I mean never, be in either Iowa or Nebraska. Ever.
No, it shouldn't. And save me, you know, the fans of the local colleges, save me this, oh, we want to see our people in person. You don't come to the meets anyway. Stop it. You're lying. Like, it doesn't happen.
Not just that, like, listen, sometimes it's just common sense, right? Every single program is built on peaking kids starting at the conference meet outdoors. So if I want to take my best kids to start their best performances, why would I want to add bad weather? That math, 2 and 2 is not 17. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
This is unprecedented for Lawrence. My goodness.
Who you telling?
Hey, listen.
Unreal.
Look, keep it up.
Just hope it holds.
I need 2 days of this.
84, 85, 83
3 days.
in Lawrence. Sunny skies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kansas looking like Clovis on accident.
literally, like we've prepped all year for inclement weather, right? And I didn't tell them what that meant, just inclement weather. So more often than not, like we stayed out a lot, more than I maybe would have, just being spoiled. But we get here and now I'm like, so make sure you have your cool wrap. Make sure we've got lots of ice. I went and got the Starro coolers, all these things. And I'm like, well, all right, here we go. all right, like sweating balls already. Great. To that effect, first time doing a conference meet in Kansas. Like obviously I've done conference Midwest, general speaking. KU has a meteorologist on site all weekend.
Okay.
Of course.
So they can anticipate anything that pops up for the inclement weather, tornado,
like a random ass tornado that could kill her.
So that was fun to hear.
Out of nowhere. Yeah.
I was like, got it. That's prepared.
We're talking about conference. 2 weeks from now, the West, we're all going to go down to EB Cushing and the phenomenal, beautiful facility at Texas A&M. But the last time we was in Texas A&M, we almost lost the whole day of the meet.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's May.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do it.
Well, I can tell you currently it's 103. So
I don't want to do that either. For the record.
I just want to say for the record, I made the mistake of doing some work today in an all metal sort of enclosed building. Yeah. hot as a hostage.
So that's not a very sensitive comment. But,
That wasn't sensitive like to me.
Boy.
I'm very hot. Is that better?
So-
Sorry.
So as
Jeez.
mentioned, Big 12 is in Lawrence, Kansas. SEC's in Kentucky. We said ACC is at Wake. That's 4.
Yeah.
That's
I was like, I can't even count.
Big Ten's in Eugene.
And then Big Ten's in Eugene. Whereas Mountain West is at
Clovis,
Clovis
Cal.
at Buchanan.
so are Washington State and Oregon State gonna have a dual meet for the Pac-2 title?
I actually have no idea what they're doing,
Oh man.
but that's a great question.
I mean, that's actually I'm really not trying to be funny. Like, what do they do this weekend?
They probably find a last chance meet somewhere. I don't know.
There's no way there's a last chance meet. Everybody's at conference.
No, there are
No.
last chance meets.
Because remember, some conferences happened last
Yeah,
week.
I think Texas State is having
See,
last
there you
chance
go.
meet.
Yeah,
There you
because
go.
they're done. Yeah.
Three-way meet with Texas State, Oregon State, and
Who is being wooed by the Pac-12, right?
I mean, listen, it would be a good get.
Wow. I can't even keep it straight. I mean, SWAC is already finished. I mean, Governor, we said that CUSA, or what conference are you guys in now?
Who, us?
Yeah,
The American.
American, not Conference USA. American's happening. Yeah, just, oh man, all over the place.
The
Just all
intrigue
over
in the
the
Big
place.
12, the intrigue in the Big 12 for me is because can anybody put BYU in the corner, or are they just gonna run roughshod over it?
So, drum roll, on the women's side of the 146 entries what's the website that we do the predictor scorecard,
Yeah.
whatever it's called. Only 124 entries are in from their women's side.
Mm.
Okay.
Things that make you go,
Sounds like some doubling and tripling.
Oh yeah.
sounds like some injuries.
Or maybe it sounds like we already qualified and we ain't worried about it.
Right.
Exactly.
Sounds like I'm flexing my red bottoms.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. So I didn't get as far as the men's side yet, but we noticed that in that. It will be interesting. I think that'll be very interesting.
So it looks like Washington State competed last weekend, and that's it.
Just hanging out.
At home, yeah.
Just hanging out. That would just be the weirdest staff to be on.
Oh man.
Oregon State and Washington State, where you just conference meet, you just popping popcorn and everybody, hey, let's have a watch party. We'll watch everybody else.
Hey, 2 years, they'll have something to do again in 2 years.
Is the Pac-12 going to officially reemerge?
Oh, they got 9 teams in there.
Yeah, they just need one more.
So then they're gonna go back to the Pac-10.
Hey,
Yep.
oh,
Hmm.
who knows?
With Texas State
Yes.
and Boise State,
Boise,
Boise State.
Fresno,
Yep.
San
Fresno.
Diego.
It's all the states, right? All this. It's the new Cal State.
No,
Yeah.
no. We ain't going. Stack ain't going. They trying, but they ain't in.
Interesting.
That's so confusing. I don't even know. Like,
Well, so
ugh.
like, here's my favorite thing for funny thing to laugh about. You know which 2 teams made the most money during bowl season, right?
No.
Washington State and Oregon State, because they got
That's right.
all of the
Yeah.
Pac-12 revenue
Yes,
sharing,
you did.
Right.
Yeah.
and all of the defectors
Had to pay.
basically got nothing. They all had to pay them.
That's right.
So meanwhile, Washington State or Oregon State well, we don't have a track meet to go to, but man, we got a lot of money.
Could come in interesting in our sport for sure.
That would be interesting.
What else we got?
Well, is there anything that we're looking forward to performance-wise?
Well, I mean, we're
SEC.
going to see the madness at SECs. Like it's just going to be stupid. Like we're going to see some crazy stuff. I'm really curious to see what the sprinter at Arkansas does now that he has made his decision to go straight track. Jordan, right?
Jordan Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just based on what I saw at Mount Sac, I was like, wow.
I'm always interested to see what Arkansas's women do in the 2-4-8 range, only because I mean, most people don't run the weekend before conference, and they had 4 women run 52:30 or faster.
Wow.
But I don't think any of them are on the A relay team.
That's probably also true.
Right. So like I'm always interested in that. Anybody else find some of the entries, some of the things that happened last week interesting this past weekend? Like Oklahoma State and somebody else, they went like hard in the paint in the like in the distances, like in the mile and the
I think what you saw last week was very simple. I think a lot of people looked at their various situations and decided to get on stable ground.
Yeah.
go run fast now because the conference
Get on
meet
stable
won't be
ground for,
fast. That makes sense.
for the 48, because you don't, I mean, because conference meets ultimately are chaotic. Like you don't really know. And
So,
you know,
so I can see a situation like Oklahoma State because Dave Smith is Oklahoma State. He is, right?
Yeah.
And you know, he is one of the few schools. He's Oklahoma State is one of the few schools outside of Tech, in Texas when they were in there that were challenging for titles. And the years that they had an opportunity to win, they went and won. Like it was pretty impressive. So I can only imagine the goodwill he has, and he probably has plans outside of conference this year. You know,
Yeah.
same thing with BYU. I mean, come on. I mean,
whatever your default premise is, right? Like I told you guys what mine is. Like right now, we have 7 kids locked. Like we're going to be on the plane.
right.
But when I look at the roster, I'm like, we could end up with 20 bullets to fire.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big difference between 6 and 20. Like I want my 20.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Like, so we're setting this thing up to like, hey, we're gonna go out here and try to maximize our stuff and get these plane tickets. All right. If I was trying to win the meet, it would be very, very different. And I might do better on the score, but I definitely wouldn't have any chance of getting these plane tickets. So, everybody comes to it with their own, ideas and perspective and angles.
I think as long as your AD is good with the plan, I think you're always good.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, you better ask that question in advance.
You definitely better ask that question.
If you're in a position to make those decisions, you better know you better be clear.
100%.
Yeah, you leave that huddle and you know the play for sure.
Mm-hmm. Snacks, Chew.
A big yawn.
Besides that yawn, yeah, sorry. Man, can't kick it. Can't kick it at all. Oh, whoa. What are 2 things that would make NCAA track better?
I have very limited time left with you fine people, so I'm going to give you one and see where the next 4 minutes take me. We should score the NCAA track meet starting at the regional or the preliminary round. That would make our NCAA better. It would make it more intriguing. It would get more people paid. It would get more teams an opportunity to say, we did all these things and we spent all this money and look, we got a result. Score the preliminary round as part of the totals that ultimately win you the national championship. That would make.
I like this, but it sounds familiar.
We tried. Jordy didn't like it, but we tried.
I think we should continue saying it because I think it's worth saying.
Keep playing that harp, Clyde. Please.
You know what? Listen, while he's on that, the plan of really, really good things that will never happen. I really like the World Relays concept, but I think it will be better done at the collegiate level. Imagine we can reimagine the Big Four relay carnivals as qualifiers
Oh my
for the
goodness.
NCAA in the
What?
4x1 and the 4x4. Right? Look,
We'd have to
we
have more
wrote.
of them,
So the only way
You have to have what?
more of them.
to
Why?
do that right, all four would have to be on the same weekend.
And regional.
Yes.
You
Now
can't have
that
north and then
would be
northeast.
now that would
We
be
have regional.
intriguing.
Mount Sac,
Yes.
Florida relays,
Texas and Penn.
Texas.
Texas, and Penn.
Yep.
Northeast,
Right? Nobody
northwest
wants
is,
to go to. Nobody wants to go to Drake.
No.
If you want to go,
No.
go to Drake, go ahead.
No.
but what I'm saying, northwest is not represented.
Yes, it is. They come to
Mount
Mount Sac.
Sac.
Yes.
They don't want to. They don't want to run in Northwest either.
No.
They're staying there. Listen, I at the end of the day, I think you're represented as long as you can stay in your time zone.
Yeah.
Right. So if you like, if we really got to have this conversation about Drake, they can flip flop between Drake and Texas. It's the same time zone. If y'all want to fight about that, go right ahead. I would never go to Drake, but in that scenario, but for sure, if you go to Mount Sac, Texas, Florida, and Penn relays.
What did you just do? 49 in a row. My
No,
goodness.
listen, here's the thing. It sounds good, but there's like a fatal flaw where it doesn't work.
No, it just has to be fleshed out. Like for sure. I like what I'm saying is this is a way longer conversation than we have. But I wanted to lob the idea out there because there's levels and layers to it, like to your point.
So you have to
Yeah.
have a D1, D2, D3, NAIA version.
Sure.
Can't cross mingle.
Mm-hmm.
No, but think about it. Think about how big those relay meets are currently, right? Okay, because they could easily concurrently hold D1, D2, D3, and if we have to NAIA, right? Because you're only running
Mm-hmm.
4x1, 4x4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're only running
That's it.
2 races.
All right. I love
can do
y'all.
4 divisions easy.
Continue with this. Good luck, my people. I have to go be the head coach on the Zoom call. So
All right.
I'll holler at y'all.
Bye.
KOP out. So it could
You
definitely work.
had way too much time on your hands. Way too much. That is brilliant though. Like I'm trying to think of what will be the alternative for Penn if everybody's complaining that everybody else is down south. You go to Louisiana. What do? You go to LSU?
It's exactly.
Man,
Exactly.
same weekend.
And
oh my
yeah.
goodness. That would
And so
be
here's the thing, right?
crazy.
Here's the thing. You could even do it crazier. You could do 2 one weekend, 2 the other, right? And you're only allowed to go to 2.
Oh man.
Right? So you get the collegiate version of the repechage. If you go and you mess it up, you can go to 1 more meet and try.
See, it's so like I'm taken back to the time where we were so excited to go to Texas relays.
You were so
so
insert relays.
excited.
You were so
Like-
excited to go to any of those 4.
Yes. Wow, man. So this has not been floated. So LLC just put this out there.
Yeah.
Are you
So now we're hosting a meet.
Listen, I'll be the meet director. I got time for that. I could do that.
Oh my goodness. Wow. If Texas relays had implications. Oh
Right.
my goodness.
Right.
Goodness gracious. And you would have to televise them all.
Yeah.
What did you just do? Oh man. Fantastic. You got any ideas, Chu?
Mine was the dual meet weekend. Like I know it's not a new idea. It's something to make the NCAA
I
better.
100% agree with you on that.
Hold on.
Or even try
I'm not
meet.
going to stand. I'm not going to stand. But I just, for the record, anything that brings about head-to-head or head-to-head competition and a score is great and relevant for track and field.
Absolutely.
The days they're over the days of us not showing up with a score or being able to tell somebody what we did or who we beat, like we've been getting away with that for a long time.
If this generation of athletes understood what the Mizzou Kansas dual meet was, what Florida and Florida State used to be,
Everybody should have to watch the UCLA USC and the Cal Stanford big meet.
absolutely.
Those two meets should be mandatory watching for every
telling you,
collegiate
man.
Division I athlete.
Washington State, Oregon State. For us, it'd probably be us and Texas State, I'm guessing.
Hey, I'm here for that.
What would it be for TCU?
Baylor, right?
Likely Baylor because
Baylor,
of the dual
yeah.
genders. I
Yes.
think if we go one-on-one, it's probably still Baylor, but varying the sport, it's SMU as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be that.
We all got one. Big League, what you got?
What are you talking about?
That was her idea.
I know. When we go back,
Yes.
I said we all got one. We're supposed to have a second one. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse anybody. Because we usually go through and work backwards. So I thought you had two in a row.
Let me think about this. What would for me, mine is pretty simple. The NCAA, or in conjunction with USA Track and Field, have to make the national meet commensurate with World Athletic Standards.
Oh my God.
We have to.
Now you're going to break the internet.
We have to have drug testing. We have to have sensors. We have to have shoe police. We have to do the things. If you're going to have a meet that's ranked in the top 5 in the world every single year, bar none, why aren't we having the meet at the standards of world athletics? It boggles my mind.
Well, I think we ask the bigger question all the time, right? Like, how come track and field doesn't have standardized things?
Yes.
Like, what is it to be a professional track athlete?
Yeah. Did I
what
hear
is it?
Big League
What is it to be a professional track meet?
Did I hear correctly, Big League, that they're going to have the surveyor machines? Like, it's going to have to be standard. Did you hear that?
No.
For measurements, the triangulation?
No, I did not. See, I heard something about it. I heard the officials talking about that.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, I think that's interesting. One, because that means now every official has to be certified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which also means that every program that hosts a meet has to have that equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah.
But that's what exactly, right? Like, we're figuring out, like, we need new rails. Now you're going to say we need new rails and new measurement systems.
Right. Like, so, obviously it's not a new idea, but man, like, the fact that these kids go to NCAAs every year, pour their hearts out, and don't get rewarded. They don't get anywhere near the points they should because of protocol.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Like, you should be able to be ranked in the top 20 in the world from SECs and NCAAs.
Absolutely.
Right. From Big 12s and NCAAs.
Yes. Without a doubt. So,
put it on there that way. As long as the meet is, quote unquote, what is that, certified, sanctioned, whatever the word is.
Yeah.
It should go to that ranking. It should go to the points. That's more money, right? That's just more meets getting certified.
Most def.
I think that we could, I don't know if it would make the NCAA better. I think it would make it more entertaining per se. Specialty meets. So a sprint only meet or sprint carnival. We have distance carnival, so I don't call it, we already do that, but sprint carnival, a jumps only, a throws fest.
Can you imagine UTEP hosting a horizontal
Oh my God.
competition?
You need to stop. You need to stop right now. You
Right?
need to
So
stop
like
20 minutes ago.
one of the things that I think I've said it on here was, we talk about the relay meets, but we never talk about like the old school, high school jumps relays
Oh
or
Yeah.
throws relays competitions,
man. Yeah.
right? Like I think that would be great. And especially since now that we have regional and national rankings within those event groups, like that just highlights that.
Man.
Like, contrary to Michael Johnson's belief that, track and field doesn't have field, one of the best meets in the country and one of the more successful financial things in track and field collegiately is the pole vault summit.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Right. And, if you're paying attention at all and you watched, what is it? The gravity games.
Mhm.
What is that? What Barshim's meet is called?
Barshim, yeah. Yeah.
Listen,
Phenomenal.
if you had a meet that was just high jump, pole
Yeah.
vault, long jump, and triple jump,
Oh man.
I'm sorry, MJ, but we could do lights and laser shows,
Oh
sell
yeah.
real tickets, and really do it right.
Absolutely.
Well, now that we've solved the world's problems, I
Once
need
again.
tomorrow at 12 o'clock to start so we can go ahead and check some boxes on the track as well.
Let's go.
All right.
Just saying. So on 3, we'll Bundy. And we'll go ahead and knock y'all out the park now because here's a week. We got it in, literally just got it in.
Yep.
But nonetheless, I think, as always, these ones that we make sure we have a show, it's great content. So everyone, if you're watching and you've already survived your conference meet, more power to you. Please go ahead and make sure that you hydrate for us because we won't. But for those who are having conference meets coming up starting tomorrow, this weekend, best wishes, throw far, jump high, jump far, run fast, turn left.
Bring your
Have a
rain
great-
gear. Bring your
Bring
rain
your
gear.
rain gear.
Yep.
So have a great weekend, y'all. See you later. Oh no.